Morning, good morning, good morning. Shafi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to play some music and then we are going to start in a few minutes when we gather. So here is some musica. Grab your coffee and see you in a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. Kylie is here. Anita, Crystal is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everybody? How is your week? We have sort of like really nice and warm weather here in Toronto. Not complaining. How is it where you are, guys? We just have a few more seconds of this music, but I'm going to tone it down because I guess we can start. And today, Tiger is celebrating his 23rd month birthday. Anybody who is following his Instagram probably knows it already because at the stroke of midnight, Alexa was playing a song for him, and it was pretty exciting. Oh, Alexa is probably heard her name. Alexa, stop. This thing is listening everything I say, and maybe it's not even a good thing that I have it. So, happy birthday, Anita. Is it? Huh? Oh, 20 for calendar day. Sorry, I need to get glasses. I guess that astigmatism is really acting up. And I'm so out of shape as well. So, this is a good time to get in shape when it's not as hot. So, where is Daggy? He's like sleeping somewhere. And we are going to start. Okay, so let me just find my little kind of piece of the paper that I write for. If I have it. Do I have it? Yes. The last one for my Barbie, who is still not here, but nonetheless I know she will be. I think it's her birthday as well, somewhere around. So happy birthday, Barbie. We guys are officially in Libra season. So hey, Libra, my ascendant, any other Libra around here, hopefully more will come. So we are starting the reading with Libra, and the next one will be this one. And let's organize this. So, and this one doesn't work, of course, this pen. Let's try this one. All right. Libra. Hi Knitting Yogi, how are you doing? Do you guys also have a nice kind of like summerish, kind of like Indian summerish weather over there? Oh, Barbie should come. She will come. Why is like Barbie's cards are feeling a little bit bigger? I'm getting spoiled. I want smaller cards. So let's see, Libras. Libras, happy birthday. Let's see what's going to be happening this week. Libra. Ooh, we have Page of Pentacles. We have Ace of Cups, and this one wanted to come through. So, Page of Pentacles is basically talking about idea that is maybe not fully, let's say, grown. It's like kind of like you wake up in the morning, you're stretching, and you're saying, oh, it would be, I need to turn off the air conditioning. Just give me a second, guys. And of course the remote was in a completely different room. That doesn't help. Sorry guys. So, Page of Pentacles. When you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, oh, today I'm going to do the exercising and do walking, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to see my friends. Like everything sounds like a really great idea. Then you get up and then you're tired. You just really want to get your coffee. You want to spend the day with Cat Day. And it's basically talking about this inception of an idea where maybe you're sorting out what would make sense. Maybe you don't want to put all on the plate because just like hold that amount of things will be overwhelming. So you're figuring, hello, are you wishing happy birthday to Libras? Huh? Really? Do you love me? Do you love Tiger? Not so much, but you just showed your parts over there. Right in it. Your dirty behind. Sorry guys. Sorry for the view. Poor thing. If somebody's watching this on television, that would be like, whoa, that was just too much. No, Safi. So I really think that some of you are feeling in a really good mood, in like maybe even a romantic mood. Maybe you will be able to kind of like flirt. Maybe you will basically meet somebody who is going to be that way and who is going to be kind of like coming through of some sort, because there is like this vision where you're kind of like, you know what I said, like you're forming your thoughts. Like pages are very similar to aces. So it's almost like that you have two good aces over here. Like there's like really talking about not only pragmatic aspect of what you want to do. So it could be birthday kind of like planning, you know, when we kind of like get into that month that is our birthday, we also kind of have a bigger idea about the direction in which we are heading and so on and so forth. But it's one thing is planning and it's like, oh, now I have to roll up my sleeves and do it. But another thing is like when you have like, that flutter, like spring in your kind of like a walk, right? And that's basically what I see here with you, because this is like direction where you're saying, where do I go? How do I basically apply myself? What kind of like world I want to build for myself? So this is really enthusiastic going on for you. I think you're sorting things out. Maybe you're trying to figure out in which direction and how to continue and how to kind of like get where you're heading. Maybe you're still not making big waves, I'm going to say, but nonetheless there's like some huge motion this week and you're feeling that there's going to be progress. If nothing else, you're going to set proper planning. This also combination talks about if you need to do any paperwork or anything of a sort, like applications, that's going to be a really good week for that. So keep that in mind. Hello, Touch of Fairy. Welcome. And you got two. You got playfulness and honesty. it's really interesting. This honesty is, she's standing in front of a mirror over here. So clearly this talks about some kind of like self-reflection. Clearly Ace of Cups really identified this with play. Maybe it's going to be dating kind of like time. Maybe it's going to be going in some kind of like direction. But honesty is here talking about, you know, let's see what needs to be fixed. Let's see maybe what new me I want to create over here. That's why the Two of Wands also showed up. Very good, guys. I would just say, you know, this is really important. Maybe this is also the switch of seasons. As Kylie said, it's energies of us in the chat, and this is kind of like also applicable to this reading as well, that we all have to kind of like think about the new direction, what makes sense, because Libras are all about that balance, how to create a balance, because we are always out of balance, right? So that's the goal, kind of to figure out what is that we really need to work with. So Touch of Fairy, like Kylie told you, like as you will see my moderators. Hello Barbie, there is a main moderator and many other lovely moderators. So I think Touch of Fairy is the first time here. So how it works with live readings is, yes, you do get your sign, and we are doing them randomly over here. Barbie sometimes calls to kind of like get sort of like your question answered, so you can get your own kind of like question answered. However, every sign that I read, as Kylie told you, is going to bring something that might need to be heard for you, because you're on the live reading, so you actually get a little bit more out of it. And sorry, Safi was just setting up the camera. Can we continue? Can we continue? Huh? Can we continue, madame? You're right, my baby. But it's Tiger's birthday today, not yours. Yes. And the next one is Scorpio. Scorpio. I don't know if I even showed it. Like from my kitty. So let's do. Yes, you wanna write? It's a little pestering me. Like my little high maintenance kitty cat. Hello Mike, how are you? Nice to see you guys over here. We are missing Chris and Steve. Hopefully in time. Like we are going to go come from the summer over here. I know that Kylie is in Australia, believe it or not. Where is everybody else? We have Australia. We have Maine, right? What else do we have? Scorpio. I'm in Canada. We have the Chariot reversed. Ooh, we have 10 of Wands reversed. I think something else flicked. Yep. And we have 7 of Cups reversed. You have 2 sevens. So Scorpio, there is like some time for you that is happening over here, which seems to be maybe changing direction. The Chariot, just think of it as a car, and it is destination that really matters. So it's not only car as a transportation, but it is pretty much the destination where we're heading. So these 2 sphinxes are really representing different kind of like strives, different wishes that we have within ourselves. I mean, we also have a lingam and yoni symbolism over here, and not to go into many kind of like descriptions for these general readings, but these sphinxes, as you can tell, they're like not under any kind of like any string, the strings not guiding them. So, and also they're facing each of them their own side. So this could mean that they are simply willing to explore whatever it is, like they're simply kind of like willing to run away, which basically talks about us needing to rein our impulses, us needing to kind of like really figure out, you know, if, you know, like a chess player, if I move this, you know, figurine, is this going to end in victory or in loss? So it kind of like it's a long-term planning. Chariot also represents generally a person who is very independent, so hence relationships are almost like denied in this card. Even if you're in a relationship, you want to kind of like establish your independence. Hello Lynn, there is another Canadian, yay! Just a few Canadians come here, it's so nice to see you here. So Chariot here reversed. So what could that mean? That means that, okay, you're maybe not clear on your wishes. Maybe these kind of like sphinxes are running loose and they're not, hey Safi, no, we can't do this every DJ. We cannot, no, we can't do it. No, no. She was so jealous when I was like singing for Tiger birthday, but I cannot be like interrupted like this. But this is basically exactly what you will be experiencing, Scorpio. You will be on target, you will be doing something, you will be going in the direction you want to go, and it's going to be a cat jumps, or there's an emergency, or there's like this, you will be going left and right, and that will be really, really exhausting. So chariot kind of like also sometimes literally means mechanical issues with the car. So talking about issues with the car, I have to kind of check my air and tires, kind of like that stuff you need to take care of. You have another 7, which is also reinforcing that this is going to be something that is like not on the outside, but is actually on the inside, that we are sort of like creating whatever the world is around us is basically our own creation. So it's really telling you need to kind of like pull in. And what really maybe needs to be done is maybe you're overburdened. Maybe you put too much on your plate. Maybe you're everything to everybody. You know, the proverbial doormat, but you don't see it as a doormat because you're a fixed sign. You see it as I'm strong, I can do it, and I'm capable. Yeah, the whole idea is like, what is like how many billions of us? 7 billions, 8 billions, 9 billions? You need to ask other people to kind of like do things and do it for you and do it with you. That's the whole idea. This 10 of Wands, when it's upright, can also talk about secrets. Not only burdens, but also secrets. And secrets can be burdens as well, right? Because you're holding something that's maybe a wall and barrier of really experiencing that flow of energy kind of like freely. But when this reverses, is coming to the point and saying, forget it. I'm just going to drop it. I'm going to say what it is. I'm not going to play this game with sweaty palms. I'm just going to do it, right? And similarly, the 7 of Cups here is like this big dreaming, and usually to me indicates, you know, this guy in a bar who is waiting for this perfect woman. Like, I mean, he's not that perfect himself, but somehow he thinks his match is going to be everything perfect, and it's just also unrealistic, as if somehow the perfect woman that he saw in the magazine, like my hairdresser, who kind of is waiting for Cindy Crawford, and somehow, I mean, he's like, 5'5" guy, bald, and I think he's gay, doesn't want to admit himself, but Cindy Crawford will be the woman he'll marry. So that's kind of like that situation where we have all of these dreams. We're like, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to win this lottery, but there's like not much guts to kind of like really kind of like substantiate that. So when this reverses, is coming down to Earth, kind of hello Earth, Earth is calling, so you're coming to Earth 1. And Earth 1 is saying, okay, so it is what it is. I maybe need to kind of like really reconfigure things. Maybe something got out of hand because there were secrets in the situation. And now it's really time to get grounded, get pragmatic. And this is all kind of like going and pulling you inside that I see over here, right? I really think this is all done to kind of like better your understanding of relationships, because that's kind of like your lifelong exploration that you want to do. And enthusiasm, maybe you have lacked enthusiasm. It almost looks to me, even though it says enthusiasm, she almost has a little flag that she's waving, and I don't know why the race flashed before my eyes. It's maybe there is like some kind of competition, and maybe you're realizing that competition kind of like makes no sense. They kind of like maybe merging together, collaboration instead kind of like would be a better path. So just kind of like keep in mind this week that this is all kind of like happening for a reason in your case, because the major came through, and that reason is inside. Your outside is going to start to reflect your inside. So I need to have a sip of this coffee that I made, and I have a little tree. I don't know if you can see it is really forming in there, which is talking about some kind of like foundation or something. Yesterday, actually, I was looking at a map of Canada, And I actually discovered that Nova Scotia has an inland sea. I didn't know that. It's Bay of Ore or Bars of Ore. Sorry, I cannot even. I think Hand of Gold or something is translated. So it's in French. And I thought I was excited, and actually mixes with the fresh water, so it's kind of like half-half. It's really interesting. I was reading about some climate impact on it. So the next one is this next one really has the spirit guide that wants to read to you, and that's Taurus. So let's see what's happening with Taurus. Let me put it here. Taurus. Looks like Baba tree cat, right? It's like very spiritual tree. Like, you know, like this is how I started in all of these kind of like things. In my country, Croatia, well, at least my parents, and back then, we are big coffee drinkers, but we would drink Turkish coffee, and Turkish coffee is like, ew, it's very strong. Like, I would not in my life now imagine that I can drink the coffee. But it kind of leaves this kind of sediment on the bottom, and you kind of like would swipe it, and then you would read the coffee. It's kind of started, and I said, okay, I need better tools. Like, I mean, I cannot really create a card with a fork. So I started to do more. And look at that, Taurus, you're really getting lots of messages here. Oops. You're getting lots of messages, and you really had to go into intuition on how to open those cards. So it looks like the week is starting well, but then something happens. Then there is like some kind of like argument. Okay, Nine of Wands and Strength. So you're opening everything with fire. Look at how much fire you have. Fire, and air. So fire and air are compatible, but they're not necessarily compatible with your element, which is earth, right? So Nine of Wands is like basically some kind of activity. Maybe somebody's coming through. This also sentence indicates, so be aware of that. Friends with benefits kind of a thing, right? So Nine of Wands is like that exciting person that is coming in your life. So this is valid for everybody, right, that is here in live chat, and also for basically Taurus that we are working about, right, that we are talking about. So this is like that attraction. There's like somebody who is like doing a hardcore press, somebody who is very actually interesting, but this person is more interested in interesting things than in one particular thing. You know, like sometimes you have these people who, you know, just go one side and just like one way, and they improve their knowledge. It's almost like they're stacking everything up, while other people are just going lateral, and they want to have as many as possible experiences, knowing that maybe they cannot really become expert. They're like not bad like some things, but like, I mean, they want to try as much as possible. So this would be Knight of Wands, right, Safi? Do you love Taurus? And it's really telling me that actually something that maybe starts like that, something like, I mean, a one night stand in this pandemic is not necessarily a great idea, but like it looks like it's a thrill, because this person is really interesting. And also this person will be telling you things that are so exciting, like you're going to have like this unbelievable night, because let's say this is a guy, so he's going to take you for a drive, and you're going to watch the stars, and maybe, you know, a movie in a drive-through, and he said, okay, well, let's go and get ice cream. And you know, like, I mean, when I was like young, I just like always dreamt about a woman like you. So it's just kind of like you're feeling really, come on here, you're feeling really comfort with this person, to the point here you go to your bed, you're feeling comfort with this person. This is like my high maintenance Safi, to the point that you're feeling, oh my gosh, this could be the one, like ta-na-na-na-na-na, like, you know, the one, and he's saying, yeah, you know, and everything. And then all of a sudden, like I don't know, like this flashes like La La Land, the scene where two of them are planning all of these big lives. And that very last scene, if you didn't watch it, I'm not going to speak much about it. I'm definitely advising to watch this movie. And then this person actually doesn't necessarily let you down, because this person is already moving on to their next interest, and you're thinking, oh, I thought this is permanent, but this is only kind of like stuck in the moment. You are not this way when you give your word, because it takes you a while to do it, and maybe this person is pushing you out of this comfort zone. But when you give your word, this is it. So like when people mess with you like that, you're kind of like really startled, because you really kind of like starting some week with some kind of like huge enthusiasm. Also, this could be really disconnected, these two things. It could be that this is you, this Nine of Wands, that you're like feeling that you are doing things, you're going around. I mean, this is about endurance, this is about going in a good direction, this is about planning. But then it almost like feels like it toward the end of the week. So we are talking like, I mean, I don't know, like Wednesday, like late Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week, somebody almost like pulls the rug on their feet. There is like some argumentative situation. Maybe, you know, like what you kind of like counted on, that something really works. Like as I said in this example, maybe it was a partner, but maybe this could be a job, maybe this could be some other commitment, and all of a sudden it doesn't work. Like Temperance, like everything is coming unglued. Maybe you simply lose it. Like this kind of like really talks about somebody who is demanding the truth, and so you're trying to converse, you're trying to basically explain your side of the story, but they have their truth and nothing else really counts. So it's kind of like weird. So very good, tricky, but you're really holding your ground over there, right? What was the movie? It was La La Land with Ryan Gosling, Canadian, and I don't know what's her name. She's really good. So support, look at that. And this is what it is. Like, I mean, something needs to be built out of it. It's really kind of like, to me, connects to basically these two cards. You're probably also very independent, like with having these two major arcanas coming through, and they're both kind of like fire, which means energy, which means action. This means kind of like getting over a hurdle, but then getting into another kind of like level that was stuck, right? So support means, hey, rely on the other people. They will help you. They will be there for you, but not if you order them, not if you demand it. So it's going to kind of like be need for a little of diplomacy over here in the situation. So there you go. So let's see who will be next. I think the next is going to be a sip of coffee first. And the next sign we are going to pull is Leo. Leos and Lionesses. Anyone here? Let's write your timestamp over here. So let's see what the week brings for Leos. Netherlands. I have actually my cousins living there in Utrecht in Netherlands. Yeah. Leo rising. I have Moon in Leo. So I already had Libra. Now I have Leo. Ooh, you have Queen of Swords. Who is going to be Queen of Swords, Leo? Is that you? That kind of like sounds like you, but then you have Page of Cups. And the Devil. It's reversed. Well, Queen of Swords. Upright. She's kind of like judge-like, kind of like she's that lady who has life wisdom. It will be that person living in the mountains like centuries ago that you will go to, and they would not try to figure out if they're going to hurt your feelings. They would just tell you what they feel, what their vision is. And like, I mean, you've seen enough of these kind of like movies, Vikings and whatnot, where the kind of like shaman or, you know, sage just like renders, this is my vision, that's what I see, right? And I mean, any kind of like suggestion comes through. Yesterday I was watching something on HBO, and it was like this Chinese kind of like I mean, older lady. She was like the same thing, like travel to the mountains to see her. So she just burns this little piece of the paper and she kind of like sees things, right? And So Queen of Swords, when she's upright, she's kind of realizing that besides being able to kind of like read basically the beings and read all of these things, that she also needs to kind of like apply certain diplomacy. So she has tendency to be quiet, and that's why there is like the hand saying, come over here, tell me what's going on. But she's going to tell you quickly, and she's still not going to kind of like go into kind of harsh rendering of this. But there is like her on a bad day over here, where she kind of like removes all of that diplomacy, removes this kind of like coddling. And so she tells you, so what did you think? Like, I mean, you didn't do it and this is what happened. Sure, like you probably knew that answer, but it's kind of like hurtful on the point when you're hurting already. So this is kind of like very unsavory attitude that is really happening over here. So this could be you. It could be that you're just tired, or this also could mean just cutting. Queen of Swords sometimes just doesn't use the bad words, but there's like simply cutting off the people, or cutting off the circumstances, or they're like something that you don't want. But there is like something that is coming through out of it. Maybe you need to speak your truth. Maybe something is just like you put your foot down, it is. So Page of Cups coming next, it kind of like can talk about somebody's immaturity, but it can talk about flirting. You know, like flirting can be connected to immaturity because it's still in the inception phase of something that is going to happen, right? It's not necessarily happening, but it's just like having a potential of something happening. Maybe somebody is coming in your life, maybe there is a potential, and it could be somebody you're really attracted to, because the devil shows up. The devil also sometimes talks about exes and talks about people from the past coming to our life and triggering things that we thought that we put it in the past, that we locked it away, we dealt with. But this is like one of those major arcana cards that kind of like challenges us. It's almost like, you know that 2 and 2 is 4, you learn it in grade 1. But I mean, even when you're 40, like, I mean, people don't ask you what is 2 plus 2 to kind of like test you. They just assume you know it. But if you fail, it will be like, whoa, how come you don't know that, right? So this is kind of like one of those things with the devil card that throughout our lives we are maybe asked a very blatant thing, but this is like done to kind of like test us if we are still good, of are you okay, kind of a thing. When the devil reverses, is actually better, because it means that we are becoming aware what are our triggers. So this is why sometimes the devil card talks about codependency. What is codependency? It's kind of like our need to stay in a situation or in a relationship that actually is really not good for us, but we stay for different reasons. Like, you can just insert like in this line and you can put any reason, and probably any one of us was in this situation sooner or later. This can talk about work. You're staying in a bad situation because you need money, you need to survive, you need to support your family, you're staying in a bad relationship, or you're going out with someone who is not sure about you, and then you're basically deciding, well, I'm going to stick around, he or she is going to see how great I am, and it's basically just creating a bigger problem. So when the devil reverses, like, I mean, there's like this understanding, look, I just really don't feel comfort in this situation. I like you, but I don't like you this much. Or the price of being with you is just like way too high, and I really don't want to do it. So that's kind of like really interesting over here. We have birth, which is really interesting. The devil is not a death card, but it's dark. It's dark. It's the opposite side of the coin of the Lover's card, right? So here they are chained, and here basically things are happening. Somebody's encouraging them to do things that are not logical, just go be hedonistic. So hence this can talk about, you know, sex without strings attached, or somebody getting pregnant and you don't know what to do with that. So basically finding yourself in a situation that you don't want to find yourself, or finding out that somebody is going back with their ex, or that you are in a relationship with somebody whose mother is pulling the strings, or whose ex is still kind of like messing up with your life, and it's kind of like now becoming your problem. So birth, when the birth card shows up, it more or less talks about, hey, you need to start fresh. whatever it was, whatever you established, maybe it doesn't work anymore. Maybe it worked for a while, but now you're like in a different space, in a different headspace. Things are going differently, and you're kind of like doing this renegotiation or whatever it was. You can do it, guys, at any point, at work, in a relationship, you know, with your parents, with your kids. It's always, life is one big negotiation. So birth means to me, it's almost like you're not turning a new leaf. We are going in a new book. It's not going to be the way it was. It has to be very, very different. And it's giving you ability to start fresh, to have this childlike enthusiasm. Maybe all these burdens that maybe you feel inside of you are just now being kind of like shed, and there's like no room for it anymore. So that's actually overall positive, guys. So whatever it is, maybe also you'll be very discerning who is a good person for you and who is not a good person for you, because maybe you got these skills through this Queen of Swords, and maybe you don't feel bad being Queen of Swords. Maybe that was the problem, that you haven't been. I don't know. That can mean that as well. So sip of coffee, and so many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm slow today, super slow. Sip of coffee. And we have Geminis. Gemini. Okay. Gemini. So, let's see what we have for you guys. Nobody's talking. Guys, is this kind of like relating with you? Is it not relating with you? What's going on? As I said, like everybody who is on live kind of like gets as well a little bit of messages for them hidden in all of the signs. So just keep that in mind. But let's focus now. Oh, look at that. It just slipped out. So we have 9 of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, and this 8 of Wands. So 9 of Swords is, I call this card wash machine brain. You know, wash machine, the front load, doesn't matter, top load, front load, it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. And it's almost like, looks like it's the hamster wheel, continuously you're doing the same motion. So it indicates to me that situation where we kind of like don't look or cannot find an exit. So we keep just regurgitating things. Oh well, this is bad, or this is bad, and this is bad. So this is where the depression kicks in and anxiety kicks in. You're like at the end of your road, you're in the stage number 9, right? You're kind of like fretting that the worst is going to happen, right? So that's, you're screaming, you're crying, and you feel that nobody's there is to help you. Nothing is being developed as you hope for, right? So there is like some negative attitude or sorrow, depression, melancholy that kind of like is penetrating. This also could mean that the person around you is like that, and maybe somebody's looking for comfort and you cannot comfort them because they almost like drag you down with them. There's no amount of input is getting anywhere, right? This also could mean that you're really upset about a child, right? Because pages can also mean children, and as I said, like something in a really, really young stage of development. So pages are usually slow, and the Page of Pentacles is very slow, the slowest, and then when it reverses, it's like super slow. So even though something is maybe still kind of like maneuvered behind the background, in the background, like you cannot feel it, you don't see it, like you are thinking like this is done, something is done. You will be pleasantly surprised, my dear Gemini, because I see this like 8 of Wands. This talks about messages, this talks about something does come through, sometimes it's really exciting. You are basically going to be really taken by this, because in your head you're going to think this is it, something is not going to work out at all, right? And then all of a sudden, like, you go from this to woo, something really happens. It's almost like it might be even rejection that you're already going home, and then it's a change of mind. You know, like Bachelor series, when he picks the woman and then you find out he changed his mind the next day. Oh my gosh, this was not a good idea. Like now I'm realizing when dusk have settled, I kind of like really need and I want something else. So let me see what angel card you get with this. You get also birth. Well, sometimes we need to cry things out. Sometimes like you just need to let all of that dark things that are inside of us come and surface. The sun is the best, you know, kind of like detoxifier, right? Neutralizer. So maybe this is what it is. Even though maybe it's not happening on the outside, maybe change of attitude and change of kind of like ourselves is going to kind of like create a completely different attitude. And that's maybe why the birth card is coming through, because maybe your attitude will change and somehow that's going to attract a completely different energy and shift basically your destiny as a result. So the next one is Cancer. Let's see, is it the first water sign that we have today? I think so. So, Cancer. No, we had Scorpio. At least Sep is like now in her own pod over here that she has. Scorpio. She couldn't care less when I'm not online, when I'm not talking. She kind of couldn't care less. She does come here and there in the evening, where she needs to be kind of like petted. She needs to know that she's the princess, but not like this. You have the Fool. Like this Two of Wands is coming through very much, and I really believe that is really talking. Yes, Sep is Aquarius, 4th of February. I really think this is really talking to the crowd present over here, the viewers that are here. Something planning over here. So Cancer, it almost like sounds to me that maybe you're making a decision that maybe is not the best one. It's not the highest quality decision. When the Fool kind of like comes through, it's really talking about us taking a risk, taking a chance anyhow, right? But when it's like upright, it's kind of calculated risk. When it reverses, is like a flop, right? But nonetheless, maybe there's like something you are realizing that something in the past has been kind of like, I would not say disaster, that's kind of like too strong of a word, but something that maybe just didn't pan out for some reason or the other. And now you're trying to know when they say when they hand you kind of like lemons, make a lemonade, make something really, really good out of it. And Two of Wands is always like, I mean, he's holding this globe. And like, let's go in analysis, because this card is really, really showing up, right? Because we have Two Wands over here. But if you really look closer, and this is like what is the trick about tarot, it kind of looks like, oh, it's a picture of the guys looking. No, but this guy has this one wand that is like bolted in over here, while the other one he's holding, right? And he kind of like, it's almost like keeping this as they call it in Feng Shui, mountain, something that kind of like supports his back, where here he's looking for the new horizons, what's going to do. So this is his own art, his own world, what he wants to build. So he's a little bit torn between the old and the new, between solid and loose. So maybe you have, you're on the fence. Maybe you have a choice of partners, and like you want somebody who is very reliable, but you also want somebody who is fun. And then this is basically the explanation. You kind of like have to figure out either or. It kind of like cannot be both. So there is like some kind of like essence of planning over here of some sort, and this kind of like probably would be you coming through, and you're saying to yourself, yeah, after all, I really don't have to worry that much, because all that all I am about is like about this big heart, and I have so much to give, but just like, I mean, like a proverbial Cancer, as you can see, this is the biggest cup in the entire deck. But guess what? It has this kind of Cancer, kind of like, what do you call it, claws, and the cup is closed because you guys are very discriminatory toward who you hang around and who you're going to allow in your world, who you're going to allow, like, I mean, to consume this big heart. So nonetheless, there is like some kind of like essence of, I'm going to be well, I'm going to do okay, because I have this emotional core that is healthy, and I know how to kind of like protect these boundaries. Your boundaries are actually very strong, that you do know you're going to maybe hesitate, you'll be on the side of hesitation a little bit longer, but you know that you'll be able to handle any situation that has been coming through. So this is very, very important. So let's see which angel card you get, and you get education. So and I really like the little pupils over here with the books. Maybe you're going to be spending some time reading, and I don't know why poetry came to my mind. Not many people read poetry, just like it sounds weird. Maybe just simply going to be music that you listen, but it's going to be some kind of like lyrics that are going to create shift for you, and that shift is going to be really putting you in a good mood, and you're going to come back into that center of you, grounding your emotions is going to feel right. So this is really, really good. So Kylie said, have been feeling a shift in isn't the age of Aquarius. It's kind of weird. I studied it a lot, Kylie, to answer your question, and according to some, age of Aquarius is already here, and age of Aquarius will rule blood, so that kind of like all these bloody encounters and everything. Some of them say that Industrial Revolution was the beginning of age of Aquarius, but when I studied Kabbalah, they said we are not even close, and it's going to happen in 2100, and then 2100 will never exist. So because it looks like we are going to be destroying the planet by then. Okay, so guys, Barbie called that we are going to do questions. So these are doors, which means ask a question. I'm going to hide the screen for a second, and so I can shuffle the cards. So there'll be 3 doors, left, center, and right. And you imagine if you want a left, if you want a center and right, and then your question will be answered. So the left is here, center, and right. Okay, let's undo this. So if you guys thought about the left door or the door number 1, the answer here is yes, but this is not going to be very logical. Kind of like path toward this wish is going to be more emotional. It's going to feel like you're fulfilled. You're going to be feeling very happy. Maybe even call for a family celebration. This could be a question about family, kids, or it could be something that you really feel is going to make you a better person who you are, not necessarily, let's say, academic achievement or pragmatic things. And even if you were thinking about academic achievements and jobs, the answer is still going to be yes, but it's going to say that you're going to find comfort in no matter what is really happening. The door number 2, you're getting another queen. It's a Queen of Wands. The answer is also probably yes, but it might happen in a really weird way, right? That's why we have this like black kitty over here. She's like having these black cats. She's keeping some secrets. She's kind of like very very kind of like mysterious, right? So when she reverses, she might be a little bit of on a bitch's side, right? She might be a little bit kind of like dealing with things in an overly kind of like straightforward way. But it could be that it's going to be initial rejection, and then eventually kind of like dust settles and things happen in a positive way. So that's what I said yes. And then the door number 3, we got 2 cards. Interestingly enough, it's almost like they're almost the opposite cards, and I really don't know what this means, other than I'll say that the answer is really neutral, that it's telling you need to keep hoping, because to me, Knight of Pentacles generally represents Aquarius. For me, it's not technically how they will teach you, and the star also represents Aquarius. So what is the link is that the friendly attitude, kind of like nurturing attitude, kind of like everything can be done, right? But this came reversed. It's almost like the opposite, something kind of like going in the wrong direction. So maybe you need to spend some time self-nurturing. Maybe you need to deal maybe you're not ready for this question. Not that the question is not right, not that you don't deserve it, but it's really telling me that there are like main forces at play that are basically taking you in a different space where you really need to work on you, because it's almost like a house of cards. You're stacking something up that is maybe not sustainable. So maybe this is why they are the opposite. So just tuck it away for a while, just wish, and work on yourself, and that's the best advice I can give you here. So let's continue. Oh, I had this card here inside the light. It's possibly the message to all of us over here, guys. So, or maybe it's the message to the next one. We will see. Oh, this one wants to come through, and we are getting yes, it could be a message for Aquarius. Are you going to be delightful? We will see. Let me put a stamp. Aquarius. Let's see what's happening. There is no logical explanation for spying. That's cute. Oh my goodness. What's going on with Aquarius? Why do we always get this kind of cards? So, wow, 2 majors. So the Emperor is reversed, which means there is like some kind of like unsettling attitude. It feels like the comfort zone is affected. It feels like, you know, we kind of like, we're not in control. Maybe somebody is supervising us, somebody is telling us what to do, somebody is basically governing us. It kind of it's not a best fit for Aquarians. Aquarians are not well suited for such suppression, because that kind of like can talk about it. Also, there is like a number 11, it's 4 and 7, which kind of indicates Aquarian sign that is coming through. So this is telling me be very careful of somebody taking something away from us. Somebody is maybe taking our position, could be at work, that somebody is basically talking crap about us. It could be that in terms of relationship, or there's like some kind of like formation that is going to feel really, really wrong, or that something has already happened that we are well aware of it, and we are trying to deal with maybe, let's say, new circumstances, but these new circumstances are very difficult. It almost like feels, when I really think about it, that this could be us Aquarians, that we are saying, whatever, save your soul, take whatever you can, whatever is yours. You might not get everything, but it's almost like cut your losses and move forward. So maybe it was a direction, maybe it was something. This can actually indicate business, that can indicate something really firm that you felt has been kind of like in motion. Interestingly enough, we are dealing with year number 4, and it's like, ugh, oh my god, this is like freaking awful, right? And I can't wait for year number 5 to come through, because it's going to be so light and everybody will be enjoying it, and you will see the fashion is going to be in really beautiful pastel colors, light blues and pinks and whites, and like trouble will resume. But for now, we really need to reconfigure things. But we are kind of like reconfiguring things a little bit earlier than anybody else, which is kind of like typical for Aquarians. We are before our time, and it sometimes is detrimental to our own good, because before time, you're always out of sync, right? The Fool is like that calculated risk, and kind of like jumping in. And I really like, even though this kind of like can be this negative card, they're both having the sunshine. So there is like disinfectant coming through. There is like the best transparency. There's like something happening over here that we feel we are capable of moving forward. We are capable of reining the situation, and we are willing to take risks. So this is kind of like really, really good over here. So it's kind of like setting up my escape, something like that. And its purpose, yeah, that would be the fool. Oh my freaking god, this is like so similar. Even though here she's like climbing the mountain, it's also the sun. Something is connecting with the sun, guys, because the sun is like very important to kind of like push you into, it kind of like highlights the area of your life. And we have like fire and air, which is really kind of compatible with us. So maybe this is it. Maybe we were flailing away, we were not sure how to kind of like reach this destination. We know exactly where we want to be, but we were always kind of having a blockades. And maybe this is it. Maybe we need to take some risk in order to kind of like create something that is getting in this direction. So ultimately, even though I guess maybe a few days are going to be tricky, it looks like it's going to turn around, and like, I mean, it's going to come back with gusto, with enthusiasm, and kind of like renew will to kind of like do things and move forward, right? So let's see what needing Yogeshi has. Ascendant Aquarius. People trying to engage me with issues that drove me off my path. Exactly. I had to learn. I mean, you never stop learning. During this pandemic, I mean, my antennas were like overcharged, like with this people suffering and angry, and all of these emotions were just like coming through. And I had to learn how to take spiritual boundaries. That, yeah, I do want to help, but I can help only, it's just so much of me, right? So I had to set really, really strong boundaries that I would not feel continuously drained as it was in the beginning. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you remember, I was crying all the time. So now it's all kind of like improving. The next one is Aries. Aries. Let's see. My dear Aries, what do we have here? Hello, Chris. I was just saying, we had another guy. I don't know if Mike is still here. Apparently, I've lost track of which weekend we are meeting. Well, Chris, let me tell you, we are meeting every weekend. I knew this is going to happen when I kind of like going this bi-weekly, but it's not going to be a problem anymore. And guess what? We still didn't do Capricorn. So, see, Kylie, you're protecting your energy. It's very important. So, Aries. Aries, Temperance, and ooh, how am I getting today? Oh my gosh, you also have two major arcanas. So there's going to be something really big happening this week, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be some motion. Everybody's like getting into their core. We are not necessarily going to have clear direction, but there'll be lots of kind of like arguments, even inside of ourselves and also publicly in politics, whatever, about the direction where things will go. So Temperance really talks about merging the unmergeable, things that mixing water and fire and making something completely new, something inconceivable. It can talk about your creative abilities. It can talk about spreading your wings. What most people miss in this card is like this and this, because everybody says this is the sun, but actually probably it isn't. Probably this is like a volcano, and there's like some specialty that is happening somewhere else, that some special ingredient had to be brought in. And this is the third eye kicking in, which is this connection and the vision and how to move forward. This really tells me that you have your spirit guides around you. Maybe some of you are going through a relationship that you are not sure how this relationship can survive. And this really talks about anything can be glued. Anything can go in this good direction, right? But there is like still some kind of like sadness in the situation. Maybe you're just doing things at any cost. Sometimes Aries is overly ambitious and does it, because this card is just like sticks in a really, really weird way. All of those cards are adding up to 29, and 29 reduces down to 11, which is that healing things. Maybe you have some kind of resentment inside of you that you're not showing on the surface. You think that could be seen as a weakness. Maybe you feel that some things kind of like passed you by, that you kind of like lost them in life. It's going to be a little bit temporary dip, I would say. And I would say maybe your Monday is not going to be the best day. You're going to start this Monday off feeling a little bit grumpy, gloomy, and maybe a little bit negative. But something is going to turn around for you guys. Maybe somebody's going to really piss you off, because I do see some kind of like sadness or anger or both. You might be experiencing both feelings, because that's almost like the same emotion. It's just like different personalities express it differently, because you're getting this Wheel of Fortune. And Wheel of Fortune is like really definitely talking about learning, and you have like these fixed signs. You have Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo showing through. Maybe you will have these people in your life who will, or if you can find these people, they will be actually giving you good quality advice and good guidance, kind of like how and where to go, right? Because that is really, really important, right? So Mike is still here. So now we have two guys, and I'm glad to have like this masculine energy around. So Wheel of Fortune, keep this in mind, that even though you'll feel like on the top with this temporary dip, that something is going to come, maybe, you know, it's going to be minor issue. It's going to be, not maybe, it will be minor issue. But what you really need to know with this Wheel of Fortune is that being on the top means you're going down. So just kind of like take advantage of everything that you can and try to accomplish as much as you can while you're on the top, because then the cycle starts all over again. You have depth. And this is maybe what it is. Maybe you guys don't necessarily spend too much time overly analyzing. Even if you're female Aries, just generally females go in more analysis than males. Males are more action oriented. So that's where this kind of like differences kick in. So you don't necessarily go too much in depth unless you have been born as a numerology value number 7. But these cards are really pushing you into this next level. These cards are telling you, and both of them are technically fire. This is kind of ruled with Jupiter, like, I mean, it's kind of like god of luck, right? And Temperance is like basically representing Sagittarius, also Jupiter. So there's like the luck aspect that you're going to really have. So this luck, you're not taking easy, like an easy kind of like win this time around. Like you're realizing there was lots of preparation. You know how they say, oh, he was overnight success. Yes, 20 years of work and struggling and eating canned food, and then I struck big and I'm overnight success. So that's kind of like a thing where you're not taking some good fortune as a light thing. Something is really, really good happening over here. So that's it. So guys, please, if you're here, just click like. That helps. That helps. We had actually altogether like almost 300 people coming in and going online. So that's kind of nice. I think people are coming back from vacation. And yes, glad to have Chris back. So now we have, hey, Knitting Yogi, your sign is up. Virgo. So, Virgo. Let me put this in. So, Virgo. Virgo. Guys, the shift is happening. I honestly can't wait for this. And this year I'm not going to be doing annuals because for 2 years in a row I was just exhausted with this. Virgo, like there's like a stoppage of some relationship or something just coming to not seeing eye to eye for some kind of like reason or the other. And this is your card, like you are feeling comfort being on your own. This is not feeling lonely. This is saying, look, I need some time off. I need to really think about it. I really think you are calling some situation. Somebody's maybe bluffing you. Maybe you were rejected too. But Hermit is always positive. Hermit is always, look, I know this is happening for a reason. I don't know, for some reason I think you are the one who is really walking away from the situation. one way or the other. Maybe the situation you found yourself in have been really complicated. It was not an easy solution, even though sometimes we kind of like think like it's almost like a wool, kind of like you kind of say, well, it's either out or it's not, but like when you pull it, it gets all tangled up, which kind of like tells me here that usually shows up when people are unable, it's not unwilling, but unable to make a decision. And people say, oh, well, where's the will, there's the way. Actually, no, with this card, this is really saying it's the opposite. It's really talking about there's like somebody's frame of mind and everything they know about themselves and everything that they have been working in life, kind of like now contradicting the direction that they want to take. So sometimes I would, for example, see this card if you're dating somebody who's, for example, married or separated, right? And somebody's saying, yes, you know, it's going to be, I'm going to leave my husband, I'm going to leave my wife, but they don't. They don't necessarily do that because they're liars, but they're like so many little kind of like moving parts that, you know, whole freaking sense of who they are collapses when certain things happen, right? There is clearly something that is moving forward, but who is moving forward is you. Like there's like somebody who is not able or not capable or to kind of like come through. Maybe you're expecting that somebody calls or somebody communicates. That's not going to happen. What is going to happen is that you will be very spiritual. Going to be lots of meditations this particular week. It's going to be lots of kind of like, let me kind of ground myself. You'll be probably dealing with crystals. I don't know if you can see this hermit is having this lantern with a star inside. So he's looking for ability to kind of like understand the motivations of some sort. And the worldly kind of like things are not that needed for him because he has this core, that trust in that the wisdom that he finds is kind of like permanent. It's the real truth, and that's the only thing he wants. So it's almost like saying, like, if something is not good for me, I don't really want it, even though I want it badly. So I need to kind of like learn how to deal with that. Well, on a very simple example, well, you know, you cannot eat cake all the time because it's really not good for you. And then you kind of realize, okay, if it's not good for me, I'm not going to have it, even though I badly really want it, right? So let's see your angel card. We see surrender. I don't know if hermit is the same as surrender, but like, I mean, this white peaks, right, where he's like on the top of the mountain, he's having this big picture, he's having the clarity that is coming to him, kind of reminds me that there are similarities over here. Surrender is understanding that at this point we cannot progress. So just because we cannot progress, we surrender to gather ourselves, to process things. And this could be simply kind of like understanding the situation is happening and we just need to accept it. But instead of like mulling it over, like, right, like we'll be in the 9 of Swords, oh my gosh, this and this and this, you are actually saying, no, you know, I need to turn to myself, I need to work on myself, and my inner world is going to be really beneficial for me in the future. This is something I can actually affect. So meditations, prayers, going to the church, some spiritual endeavors. Maybe we'll be playing sermons on television, you know, or something that is going to kind of like really make you stronger. Because the Hermit, for you, it's a very powerful card. It really talks about putting you together on the path where you need to be. So it's all good. So who is there? Needing yogi, right? You're Virgo. So how was this? Was this resonating for you? Be good to get your feedback. So what? We only have 2. Whoa! Now it came to the. Then we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius. You're right. So let me put this work. Sagittarius. Let's see. Sagittarius. I have 2 friends that are having to back away from due to being on different paths. surrendering to understand they're just incapable of coming to where I am. Yeah, I think you're going to simply realize that some people, some relationships have natural end. So Sagittarius, you also have two majors. Sagittarius, it looks like you're going to be very flirty, or there's like some kind of like emotional component over here. But there is like also you want to go upstairs and downstairs at the same time. It's not possible. Maybe you have somebody like this King of Cups who is influencing you, somebody who is giving you this emotional kind of like aspect where somehow you feel stuck. But all of these cards are actually technically positive cards, right? Except what I really kind of like don't like in this card is that the Fool is looking this way, the King of Cups is looking this way, and the Hangman is looking here. It's almost like they're like so many elements over here. Everything is really good, but they are not gelling. They are not merging together, or merging together will be well. So for example, the Fool talks about taking this risk, being enthusiastic, kind of like opening up, like he's coming here, like it's almost like you move to a new town and you feel, even though like everything on burden that you had is still with you, you feel fresh, you feel, wow, this is a new beginning, everything is going to be okay, right? This little doggo over here represents society and expectations of a society, but he really feels, I can just jump off this cliff, I'll be fine, kind of a thing. And it's a kind of like that leap into the unknown, right? King of Cups on his own is like that emotional support. It's like maybe it could be strong silent type who listens, and listening is really, really important. Like my mom always said, and whenever I am arguing with customer service, I was telling my mom always said, like, you have one mouth and two ears. There's a reason you need to listen twice as much, and I have to learn to listen to my own advice. So King of Cups is like that person who is able to kind of like listen 2 times or 3 times as much, and hence is very not judgmental. It's, you're really feeling soothed and comfort. It's not tough love, it's a very, very soft love kind of a thing, right? King of Swords would be kind of like tough love, I'm just giving you because this logically makes sense. But this guy would, to the biggest freaking murderer, tell, I still understand you're hurting. Kind of like it's usually this counselors, right, who deal with victims of rape, who need to have that personality, right? So whether this is you that you're getting that whole understanding, but I'm more or less feeling there's like some person in your life who could be a water sign, and or having or exhibiting this water sign qualities, right? That is somehow there, and it's like really, really solid. Or is maybe somebody you have to go to, but you're not going to. You could like have your way of dealing with this, and you're very strongly feeling about it. And there's like this person who has his or her own way of dealing with that, and they're like not very compatible. It's almost like ships in the dark, is just sailing next to each other, not even seeing each other. So the Hangman is really saying somebody needs to give up, and somebody needs to understand how it would be sitting in the other person's shoes, right? Because that's the number 4. It's kind of like there is absolutely no control. There's like nothing you can do in situation, but you are doing this gladly. You give up on some freedoms, you give up on something. So Hangman, for example, would be the card when you decide to marry. You're not going to be anymore able to have all these parties, because now there's like a new concept is being born, and you're more than willing to sacrifice this because you know this is going to be something else. So the Hangman can also talk about somebody, let's say, having an affair, and now you're trying to be very transparent and trying to rebuild everything that has been broken, and kind of like see if you can cover the holes in the fabric of trust, right? This is completely willingness, surrender. Except I don't know here who is doing that, because nobody really wants to do it. Like the only way to resolve this situation is that somebody puts themselves in the situation, because these two people here are so different, and both of them feel my way is the way. And you cannot know that until you put yourself in complete shoes of the other person. It's not like, yeah, that will be, oh yeah, sure, I know. No, this is like the upright hangman. This is the God figure, and this is the God figure over here. So you're technically being really watched. This is almost like a crucial situation, and emotions are not necessarily easy domain for you. You're really doer. You like to express your emotions, with kind of like doing things or even with gifting things, where this person is like really expressing their emotions with being there and absorbing this thing. So it's kind of like almost looks like it's very, very different. I don't know, this could be a partner of some sort. And patience, and patience is really needed. And guess who doesn't have patience? So good luck, my dear Saggies. It's going to be really interesting. You will want what you want, and there will be circumstances that will be blocking you. So maybe you decided both of you kind of like switch roles and just see how it is. You will let me know. That's going to be really, really interesting, because it's going to be very, very big for you, big week for you. So it's going to be a very, very nice. So let's see to catch up. Leaning yoga, you have Aquarius rising, so Virgo reading and Aquarius. We're right on for where I'm this week. Cool. Kylie, now King of Cups, I did draw the Hangman in reverse during my intuitive meditation. Hangman in reverse is like somebody is simply talking about, yeah, I'm doing this, I understand, but they have no clue, and they really didn't do the spiritual work they're supposed to. And in yoga, I was discussing just that earlier with a friend. When I try to work on maintaining the relationship, there is another thread to entangle me like a spider web. Yeah, that's all about boundaries. We really need to work it from ourselves and understand that every relationship in our life is basically something we need to let go if it comes to its natural end. So what? Do we have just one more? And, well, where is the freaking Pisces? Where is the Pisces thing? Oh, look at that. It got hidden over here. So, well, this is Pisces, and then the other one, last one, will be Capricorn. It's a good thing that I noticed on the paper. So let's go with Pisces. Pisces. Sun's fiancé is a Sag and he's a Scorpio. With Sag and Scorpio, I think I'm getting lots of information about these two signs, and especially they're like intermingled, and almost looks like it's such a huge difference. It's a huge attraction. It's also a huge difference between these two. So if they have that sexual glue and intellectual glue, it will last. Otherwise, it's going to get very tricky. So Pisces, you have the Tower. You know what? It's enormous amount of cards. I'm just going to see what's the overall thing that you're getting all this stuff. So clearly turmoil. Clearly you're feeling slighted. Clearly you're having argumentative issues with your sisters or brothers, or even with your friends. You're going to get to the point. Look at that. Look at these cards over here. The first kind of like said, the Tower, the Emperor, Page of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Six of Cups. It's really talking to me about kind of needing to rebuild something, starting slow, cut your losses, see what works. It's clear message. It couldn't be clearer. You're starting this freaking weekend with something that is shifting, and it's not going to be something you want to shift. It's going to be made for you. It's going to be a big surprise, really, really big surprise. And then when you kind of land on your feet, you're going to be really exhausted and tired, and you're going to really feel that, maybe all your efforts are not rewarded, and like a whole bunch of like trains of thoughts will be coming through your head, like, oh, I don't know, I may be the best to be on my own, but then you're going to be unhappy to be on your own. You will just like really want to be with somebody, and be very careful not to have a half-baked direction which you're going, because I can see the possible arguing over here of some sort. So it's going to be typically Pisces. You know how you say, like, see these two fishes, one is swimming one way, another one the other way. Like, are you coming, are you going, what are you doing, kind of a stuff. You're going to be in a really crappy mood. You're going to be argumentative, or you're going to be attracting argumentative people. There'll be two people who'll try to dominate you, possibly, and it's going to like almost like feel the whole freaking time that you're trying to find your footing. I mean, you're ruled under the moon card over here in tarot, and High Priestess has this crescent moon over here under her feet, and that would be currently kind of like going through this like new moon in Virgo, which really talks about reorganizing ourselves, reconnecting ourselves, reconfiguring what is and who we are and how we go. Don't just kind of like be Nemo and be lost. You really need to it almost looks like you're reactive, like things are coming to you instead of you kind of driving the car. Like, I mean, there's something coming on the left, something coming on the right. You're continuously kind of like avoiding things instead of getting to your own destination. So it can be very very kind of like, and I have one more thing here, I don't know what it is. Oh, that's Capricorn. I put it here. And you have presence. This is it. Stay in the now. The whole message is possible to learn that. The moment when you start reacting, the moment when you start going in all of these directions, you get sidetracked. You don't have this big picture. You don't have this ability to discern who is good and who is bad for you. So you really need to kind of like stay in. Pay attention to your breathing. It's really good to practice meditation. This is always good to help like, you know, the Eckhart Tolle, I love, it's another Aquarius. He's really talking about this. There is the entrance into that inner world through in between our on our words, in between our breathing, and like the more you do it, the easier it is to get there. So you need to start with something. Just spend 5 minutes breathing. If you have a Fitbit, it has this kind of breathing exercise. 2 minutes. Do it a few times a day. And this is going to be the name of the game for the next week, my dear Pisces. Yeah, I know it's not going to be super easy, but don't allow the storm to become permanent one. So don't get stuck in a ditch, right? So just try to understand this is temporarily, and this too shall pass. There you go, Chris. The best is for the last. Another sip of coffee here. So let's see, Capricorn. What's going on here? Capricorn. So let me just clean my nose. You've got something. You got Page of Wands. This one wants to come through. Knight of Pentacles, and you have like 9 of Wands. So you guys are getting really, really pragmatic this particular week. Page of Wands is like somebody who gets this burst of energy. Somebody sets you on fire, right? You want to do things. You're having like some new destinations, but the whole ideas are still kind of half baked, so they just have to be developed. But check what? We're going from page to knight, so there is like some basically motion happening. You are going with this burst of enthusiasm, and you're moving into this Knight of Pentacles with understanding, hey, you know, certain things need to be done this way. I absolutely love this black horse. It could be something kind of like that is a breakthrough for you, and it could be that, you know, that slow and steady wins the race, because the next will be the King of Pentacles, will be the final destination. But there is like still kind of like you're conquering new horizons. You're kind of really going in these new directions. So where is this knight going? He's going toward this dude. Like, I mean, maybe you had somebody in your life who was quote unquote fighting you, who have been either an arch nemesis, or this person could have been just somebody who is maybe just like in their own way, kind of like hurting themselves, because it shows a warrior, and this warrior here is a fighter. He's a seasoned fighter, and at this stage here he's saying, well, just one more step and I'm going to stop. But in this stage here, he's just continuously fighting. There's like somebody who has this maybe personality. There is like always some kind of like engagement. There's always something that is really, really going on. and you are at this stage able to see this, able to get over this, able to understand the true motivations, and able to maybe even understand that no amount of convincing, no amount of energy is ever going to be sufficient. It's almost like this energetic black hole that just like takes this energy out, and any kind of like direction. So this could be a client that this client will never be pleased. So you may be kind of like thinking through, okay, I need to let that go, because I do like the income that comes from this client, but it does cost me in the other ways. This could be a partner who is never happy. You can never jump high enough. You can never do enough, right? Or simply it's going to be that understanding of all of that, where you're not being affected, you're not engaging, and the fluent, like this energy kind of like prongs, like I almost like see them as elastic bands, are no longer there. You know, elastic band just like fell down, your drawers fell on the floor, you're exposed, and so on and so forth. So let's see what we see here as gratitude. Maybe it is the gratitude because you're fully coming in touch with your own needs. You are almost like going to feel like you're on the top of this mountain, and that you have this understanding. This to me would be wisdom, akin to wisdom, where you know, you just like stop arguing, you stop fighting. People want what they want. People want to go in the direction they want to go. And with you continuously engaging, almost like feels like you're talking to the wall and you're not going anywhere. It's almost like, look, I know what works for me, and this is my truth, and this whole system was doable. Maybe I'm open to changing this, but not right now. Right now, I know where I'm going, and I have everything that has been happening telling me that I'm on the right path. So I will continue. If you want to do something different, that's okay, but I will then continue on this path on my own. That's kind of like how I see it. So it's going to be really interesting that you're going to be very calm in presence and very kind of like collected with how you deal with things. So we will have, I guess, the last doors to just get another questions answered. So let me just cover this up. You guys, if you didn't like it, please do like it and click on it. That always helps with this YouTube algorithm, which I really have to play with monthly readings under 10 minutes or they punish you, which is weird. All right, so ask a question. Ask your question. I think one card is flicked here. Okay, ask a question. Third card. Yeah. Man, what happened here? A whole bunch of cards flicked. I don't know what to do with this. Alright. Oh. Need to go back. Where was I? Where was I? Okay. Guys. Left door. If you ask, the answer is yes. Something is happening. You're going to the next level. You're going to the next stage. Things are going to be workable and doable. Everything will be fine. So this is all good. For the question number 2, it tells me the 3 is a crowd. There's like something happening. Maybe you're asking for some kind of like solution, for some kind of union, for some kind of resolution. It looks to me there's going to be absolute lack of teamwork. So I would say that you really trust somebody more than you should be trusting them. And there are like certain kind of like things being pulled behind in the background. So that's something to think about it. And here was this whole bunch of cards that was coming through as the door number 3. So we have a confusion over here, right? So Page of Cups. Well, actually, maybe we don't have a confusion. both of these cards here, the Seven of Pentacles and Two of Swords, are really talking about reassessing direction in which we are going. Here's like more or less with the resources and how to move forward, and then we kind of like realize, okay, maybe I'm just not patient enough. I need to continue, right? I'm enthusiastic about it, but I also need to be patient. And Two of Swords really talks about doubt, and when we kind of like have two opposing things, we really want something, but our logic tells us maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And generally we kind of like have to make this discern between choosing between our head and our heart, right? And this is kind of like ending up with Four of Pentacles, which is reversed, which talks about the solution here is to get out a little bit more, to interact a little bit more, not to be in our head too much. So the answer here is yes, but it's going to be a lots of hoops you have to get through in order to get there. And this might be something even slower moving that might not be happening soon. It could be like maybe even good 7 months to 11 months before this entire thing came to that clarity that this is like a good solution. So hopefully this kind of like helps, guys. And I'm so glad to see you guys. So just to know, we are resuming our weeklies right now. No more on bi-weeklies. I'm going to have that for the summer, so I can actually have alternate weekends for myself. So will you be able to order personal annuals? Yes, I will allow that, but only for my private, for my previous clients, because that drains my energy. It's like an hour and a half to reading or longer, and literally drains me. But yes, you will be able to do that, and I actually do advise to do that, so that's really, really good. So thanks for reminding me. I have to start kind of like I have to revamp my website. I'm feeling it's a little bit stale, and come up with some other options. So my dear friends, because I think you're my friends, this was like actually lovely to have you here with my coffee. I'm going to continue on my day because Mr. Tiger is having his 23rd month birthday. So I want to kind of create so much fun for him, because also we have a lovely weather. So they're like two things that are merging together. So let me play some nice music for the end here, and I'll see you on next Saturday. And in the meantime, you're going to get your monthlies done soon. Love you guys. Wish you all the best and have a wonderful week. It was really, really nice seeing you. And I will see you next time.